As you might know, the new Icebox and Lotus is coming out extremely soon. So I thought I would update my old setups and make a new setup video for every single map, including the new Icebox and the new Lotus. So let's go. Now, starting with Icebox, I would not recommend playing Deadlock on A side. It's kind of hard because like they can just jump over your wall and stuff. I'll show you guys later. But I would rather play mid or B. So if we start with B, the usual setup I'm going to do is I'm going to have one sonic sensor here, a ceiling trip. Like if they push over here, it's going to stun them, right? This is going to hit basically all of this that I'm standing on right here. And then I'm gonna have the other sonic sensor here. You see like how you can place it on an angle? You place it here. That way, if they push out, both of these like little lanes will get stunned, right? So if they push from this lane, they will get stunned, right? Or if they push from here, they're gonna get stunned. So that's when you have to take advantage of it by either playing behind here, getting ready to peek off the stun enemies, or you can stand behind yellow, which might be good, but you gotta remember then, if you don't kill everybody, if you don't get an ace, you'll die, okay? That's just how it is, unfortunately. For your wall, what you can do is place it early in the round like this. That way you can deny some space and there'll be far more tunnel vision for your sonic sensors, which means that they'll likely be like, oh, I'm gonna destroy this, then they're gonna push up, and then they won't really check sonic sensors, right? And also this one, they probably won't check, right? It's a ceiling trip. Like who flicks up here? Doesn't happen. Now over to mid. The thing I do for mid is like the barriers start here, right? This is where the barriers are, right? So the best thing I've found for mid is honestly like if you want to play a really annoying deadlock, you just insta throw your wall out like this. That way you're basically just denying them all of mid, right? Because they have to break this. And if they try to break this and this is not smoked, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do a little cheeky bing bing, peek like this, get a one tap, maybe even three, who knows? Then you can also throw your grav net. Ask a teammate beforehand, right? Before you take control of mid, ask a teammate to play either tube here through the little window, so you can just peek off it like this, or ask him to play under tube here. That way you guys can kind of like crossfire them and likely get at least one early kill. Who knows? Now over to the problem side. This is the side I don't really like playing with Deadlock on, mainly because if you look at it, like there's a lot of like up and down, right? What I usually do though is I place my wall early here. And with the new wall as well, it's basically gonna block them even earlier because the the length of the wall is so long now that like it's kind of weird. But anyways, for the setups, what I do is I usually place one ceiling chip here. Again, just due to like the surprise factor, like people want like a 90 this to destroy it. And then as for the other one, I place it close to this little like angle here. So now you basically have both lanes covered. So if they go into this one, this is gonna get like they're gonna get stunned by this one when they're peeking, or if they're gonna move over to this one, they're gonna get stunned as well. The only thing I would say though is you need to actively hold these, because like here again, they could either just jump up here and then just jump across your wall, or you know, they could take a zip line over your wall. But yeah, I would say the new Icebox is a really good map. It's not the best Deadlock map, but it does have some cheeky spots you can use. What I would say though, don't play A. Just let somebody else play A. Either hold mid or hold B. I will personally probably go more towards B because it's much more fun. Speaking of this little sonic sensor here that not many people realize is going to be there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Icebox. Let's move over to the new Lotus. All right, now we're over to Lotus A side. So what I normally do is I place one sonic sensor here behind this thing, which basically means that anybody who's brave enough to push up will get stunned by it. And when they're stunned, like when they're in range of this, you can already have a really good angle on them. And since the sonic sensor is now stunned even faster, this is going to be really nice. Now, as for the other one, usually I just place it on this little like ledge here. The reason being is when they push up, they all have to be funneled into this little space here, right? So they push up, they're gonna get stunned by this. And then you can either stand on the other side of the wall here and then peek off it, or you can stand behind this thing here and peek off it, or even drop. That works as well. So that's my usual setup on A. Now moving over to B, one thing I want to say is I don't really like playing Deadlock on B because the sonic sensor are kind of boring here. That's just me though. I don't really like playing A either. I prefer C, but if you have to play B, this is what you should do. So what I like to do now with the new B is I place one on the edge like this, and then finally I place one sonic sensor on the little edge here. When they push up, they're gonna get stunned in kind of like a cross pattern, right? So if they walk over here, this is gonna stun them. And if they walk over to this side, it's also going to stun them. So that will kind of delay their push a little bit. However, you got to be careful because if they have a jet, what's going to happen with both of these is they're going to activate instantly, right? And nobody will get stunned, right? So be a little bit careful with that. As for the wall, I honestly just throw it extremely early. I throw it here just to deny space. You can throw it even deeper so you can lurk behind this box as well, but I wouldn't really recommend that. Like, play smart. You're a Deadlock main. You can go aggressive with the new sonic sensors, which I might show later, but stay safe, okay? Don't do anything dumb. Now, onto C side, the side which I think generally is the best for Deadlock. So as you can see, like we're a little bit more spacious here, which gives both dive duelists and you more space to play with. You can be a rat and hide behind this corner if you want to. I don't really care. I don't like playing like a rat. It's kind of weird, you know. I'm not a Cypher main. But what I will say though is a lot of the same sonic sensors are still the best. So you know the patented ceiling trip. Place it like this. It will stun them. They won't really know where it is. They're gonna get bamboozled. And now you can peek behind this. Get a free kill if you really want to. As for the other sonic sensor, this is where it kind of depends on what comp they have. If they don't have a jet or race, I would honestly recommend placing a ceiling trip here because they won't really know what hit them, right? They're gonna get stunned when they push up the stairs. You can stand here, get ready for them. Or if they do have a jet or a race, usually what they do is they either dash like this on the side, like they dash over here, or they updraft dash over on this little like killer thing here, right? If you know a jet is gonna updraft dash over to this bit, obviously you place the sonic sensor here. Or if you know that jet is gonna dash over to here, you place the sonic sensor here, right? So it all depends on the team comp. As for the wall on C side, I usually honestly just wall it like this because then it reinforces itself and stuff, so it's easier to play around it. But if you have time, place your setup first, and then I would honestly highly recommend walling B. I'm not gonna lie. Wall B for your team. That way they don't really have to actively hold it unless they have like an omen or something or a chamber. But then you can just play off C. Now, a quick side note. The thing I wanted to mention about aggressive sonic sensors is this. You can kind of play Deadlock as a duelist now if you really want to. The way this works is that if you have sight and you don't see any enemies, you place a sonic sensor early here without them seeing it. Then you just kind of like jiggle and bait. If they push up, they're gonna get stunned by the sonic sensor, and then you can just peek off it. Like, nobody really expects it. Who would expect a sentinel to play aggressive, right? Not me. But yeah, that's basically Lotus. Let's move over to the other like normal sites that are not updated. Okay, all right, now we're back to like the non-updated map. Let's start with Ascent. So my setup hasn't really changed for Ascent. The way I usually do things is if they have a jet, she's obviously gonna dash switch, right? That's kind of normal. So I place one sonic sensor here. When she dashes onto switch, you can like kind of like spray her through the wall if you really want to. As for the other trip, I either place it on this like little side wall here, so when they push out they're gonna get stunned, or I place it close to lane. It depends on how aggressive they are. If they're really aggressive and just gonna fast boost everything, then I just play lane here, wait for them to push it, and then I can peek off my sonic sensor, right? So it all depends on how their team comp is looking and like what type of playstyle they have. As for the wall, immediately when the round starts, I just jump throw it like this to place it down because it's gonna stall them for a little bit longer of time. And I also don't want to give them the orb, right? Because Killjoy ult, they're probably going to run the Ascent meta comp because they're boring. If you don't really care about the orb, what I would do instead, honestly, is place it like this. Because that way, this orb has time to reinforce, so it doesn't just like insta get sprayed here. Another great thing I do, which isn't really part of a setup, if I have a player who plays Odin over here, if I hear them push, I throw a grav for him like this, and then you can pretty much just pick up an Odin and start spamming through the wall, right? Now, as for A side, honestly, what I do is just place the wall early like this. I found this gives me the most value, and also like if they have a KO, which they probably do, right? Throwing the wall early is gonna stall them a lot, right? Because the KO knife is gonna shut down my sonic sensors, etc. And if I haven't placed my wall yet, then I can't really place it for like 10 seconds, right? So honestly, place the wall early. That's what I would recommend. Deny them this A main space. As for the sonic sensors, I honestly just place one here because this is almost always smoked, right? So when they start pushing here, they're gonna get stunned. Jet hasn't fully dashed in yet, so this is probably still gonna proc it. And then if they do have a jet who likes to dash in gen, place one close to gen, and then you can play off it. Or if you don't really like that, you could also place one close to this like little wooden pile here, and then you stand behind dice. Just make sure that they don't really have like a lot of util to flush you out, like mollies or silver drone, etc. But yeah, that's usually the setup. Now moving over to bind, let's start on A side. I've showed this setup a couple of videos, but basically what I usually do is, first of all, I place one sonic sensor here from a little angle, and then I place one ceiling trip right here on the teleporter. When they push up close to the teleporter or close stairs, they're gonna get stunned by this thing. And also, nobody expects a ceiling trip on a teleporter, right? As for the other one, when they start to push down the side, trying to plant and trying to take space, this is gonna stun them. So you can just peek off that. What I usually like to do though is I like to play lamps and then just peek off the stuns. Especially now when it stuns even faster, it's gonna be really nice to peek off of. Just remember to be a little bit careful if you have a race dashing in your face with a judge. As for the wall, I place it early showers like this. I jump here and then throw it against this wall, and then it lands here. The reason being is if I don't have any sonic sensors in this space, I would rather play close to my sonic sensors so I can peek off of them and get a kill. So yeah, that's basically my A setup. As for my B setup, I usually place one sonic sensor under hookah here. I think you know why. When they jump out of hookah, right, they're gonna get stunned by this thing. And then the other one all depends on how they're playing. If they're playing a little bit more slow, I place one closer to the entrance like this. That way, when they start to go out, it's going to be kind of scary for them to push towards finding the spike, right? If not, if they play very fast, I like to place one on this little tube thing because like Jet likes to dash in here. She's going to get stunned you can peek off inside the tube and then get a kill pretty much. As for the wall, I usually place it either hookah early in the round or long early in the round. It all depends on how my teammates are playing. If I have a Sky and she wants to play long, I don't wall long, obviously. I wall hookah instead. Vice versa, right? For me personally, I generally think the hookah wall is better because this doesn't get broken insta, right? This has time to reinforce. But yeah, that's pretty much it for mine. Now, moving over to Breeze, probably the map that's the worst for Deadlock, in my opinion, but it is what it is, guys. So usually for Breeze, if we start on A side, what I would do is I would place one sonic sensor here behind the rock. That way, when they start to push over here, they're gonna get stunned by this, and then you can just play back pyramid and peek off it, right? Or you can also place the sonic sensor like next to this pyramid here. It's all kind of personal preference. In my opinion, there isn't too many good sonic sensors because Breeze is a very open map, right? There aren't a lot of tight corners, but that's usually what I would do. As for the other sonic sensor, I honestly just place a ceiling chip here. When they start to push up here, this is gonna stun them. Then again, you sit back pyramid and they can peek off it if you really want to. And then for the wall, I generally think it's best to just place it early A main, just to stall for a little bit longer. Now over to B side, I would probably honestly only play B with Deadlock on Breeze. I wouldn't really play A. That's just my opinion, but I think B is much stronger for Deadlock. So what I would do is I would place one sonic sensor here and then one sonic sensor close to the stairs. The reason for this one is they're gonna push towards backside, right? This is gonna stun them. You can stand in this little rat corner here and then peek off the sun. As for the second one, this just ensures that when they push up the stairs, you can also kind of like sit here, you know, either peek off this sonic sensor, or you can jump up here and then peek off that guy that's done there, right? But yeah, as for the wall, I honestly just played it early around here. I haven't really found another good use for it. You can also place it elbow, but then again, like, place it deep elbow if you really want to place the wall here. Place it like here if you have time for it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Breeze. Now, moving over to split, if we start on A side, my normal setup is this. So I place one sonic sensor on this wall, and then I place one sonic sensor on this wall. The reason for this is simple. When they start to push up, they start to push over to here to try to plant the spike, right? You can stand elbow, and then you can just peek off the sonic sensor. I've gotten a lot of kills very easily from this. And the reason for the other sonic sensor is also so that when I'm holding elbow, if the enemy pushes up here, I get noticed, right? Like the sonic sensor activates, and then I know that there's an enemy pushing me. So then I can simply just re-swing from elbow here and take him out. For the wall, honestly, I just place it as early as possible like this, just to deny them to get over to ramp and deny them to get into A main. If you place it extremely early, you also have a little chance that it's going to fortify. Another thing to note as well is if you really want to, I don't recommend it, but you can also wall mid. It's the same concept as Sage, you know, but like then again, it won't really get any value because they'll just get destroyed instantly. And if you're playing mid as well, I would honestly highly recommend to place a sonic sensor either here, behind this crate, even on the crate if you have time, or very aggressively like this. And you can even place it on like the little like ledge here if you want a ceiling chip. The reason for this is because a lot of the time when the enemies push up, they see you swinging, like taking some fights. When they start to push up, they're gonna get stunned, and then you can just either peek off here or you can peek off it this way. But remember to be a little bit careful. If they have a breach or an omen, they can just flash you, right, and flush you out of here. So be a little bit careful with it. Now moving over to B, my main setup for B is honestly very simple. I place one ceiling chip here. That way when they start pushing up, this will stun them. And then I place one sonic sensor a little deeper like this. The reason for this is Jet likes to dash in towards all of this space here, right? So she's gonna get stunned by this, and then you can simply just peek off it. Then for the wall, I honestly just place it early like this. That's usually what I do with the wall, because they won't have time to peek this before it's reinforced, right? So that'll buy you a lot of time if they decide to push this, because they have to destroy all of it, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for B. Now, moving over to Sunset, if we start on A side, I usually play B side on Sunset, but if you really want to play A side, here's what I do. So first of all, when the round starts, I immediately throw my wall like this, just to deny them as much space as possible, because you can creep out and hold A main, which is really important on Sunset because it's a very fast and easy map to take space on, right? So wall this instantly, you ask somebody to play Crossfire with you over to on elbow, and then you basically just have a lot of space early in the round. As for the sonic sensors, if they love to push extremely fast, I place one sonic sensor behind the little like cardboard box here, or like tree box, I don't know what it is. Or you can also place it on like the little like angle here, if you want to. It all depends on how fast they're pushing and also where you want to place. So if you want to place close like this, I think it's better to place this one because you can peek off it. Or if you want to place closer to default, you can peek off this sonic sensor, right? As for elbow, I honestly place a very aggressive sonic sensor like this early in the round if I'm not placing the wall, because they don't really expect this. So when they try to creep up and push elbow, they get stunned here, and then you can just peek off it, right, with a vandal. Now moving over to Deadlock's best side on Sunset, which is B. What I usually do on B is as soon as the round starts, I wall early like this, just to deny them a lot of space and also to give me a little bit more room to play with, right? Then I place one sonic sensor on the edge here. That way it's angled towards this side, right? And then I also place one sonic sensor angled to the other side, right? So it looks like this. Kind of similar to what I did on Lotus on B side. so it's angled like an X, right? I instead just place one here, and then I place one a little bit like more passive towards this side, right? I can play backside here and then just peek off. So if Jet dashes in, she's gonna dash into this sonic sensor, and then you can just peek off it. She's gonna be stunned, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for Sunset. I don't think Sunset is a good Deadlock map, but that's just me personally, because like there's so much space you can flank around with that it's kind of hard to play Deadlock on. But yeah, that's all the setups I use. If you guys have any questions about Deadlock at all, like how to get better with Deadlock, how to use your wall properly, etc., please come to my Twitch. I stream almost every day at twitch.tv/pony. And yeah, remember to subscribe, guys. Take care. Bye bye. Love you.